Hey DIY friends, today we're going to take this open face shadow box from the Dollar Tree. You're going to pop out the middle. You can save that for another project, put it to the side. Taking a X-Acto knife or a small box cutter, you're going to kind of just go around and loosen up the glue from the edges on the back side of this shadow box. And I just kind of scored the inside to kind of help me pop out the back of the shadow box. You're going to use the back of that shadow box, so don't do anything with it. I just tried to clean up some of the glue pieces that were on the back, especially any that would be seen from the front of the shadow box. This takes a few minutes, so just bear with it. Remove as much as you can. You can kind of cut out the corners if you need to kind of remove those. Now you're going to just take the frame of the shadow box and using Rust-Oleum's chalked paint in white, I'm going to give this about 2 good solid coats of paint. Make sure to do the edges and the sides as well. The chalked paint does not take as long to dry, so you can just set it aside while you're working on the next part and it should be ready when that is completed. Just making sure to get all the edges as smooth as possible. Now taking the backing, I'm going to remove as much of this as I can. This is going to be the back of the frame now. So it doesn't really matter if you remove all of the backing, but I tried to get as much off as possible. It was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be, so I did kind of just stop once I pulled off as much as I could. Now using just a sanding sponge, you can get these at the Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to remove as much of the backing as possible and just kind of smooth it out to where it is smooth to touch and nothing is just kind of peeling up and sticking up from the back. If you are OCD, you can take a piece of cardstock and glue it down to the back just to make it solid, but I didn't take time to do that this time. Now using the front side of your back of your picture frame, you are going to use a piece of burlap and you're going to you can mark this off, which did not work out as well as I thought it would for me. So I did just kind of lay the board back down and take my scissors and cut around it. That worked just fine because your burlap has the straight lines in it, so it's pretty easy to cut around. Burlap does ravel, so just make sure that you are careful. You'll see here in a minute on the end it was already kind of starting to ravel, and I just cut off the raveled portion because it was pretty much the same length that I needed the material to be. Now just measuring it to make sure I have it a good size, I'm now going to take my glue gun and I'm going to glue down my burlap. Make sure you don't press too hard because the glue will stick to your fingers through the burlap holes. Now I'm going to take a bag of seashells that you can also purchase at the Dollar Tree. They are not the best shells, but they are nice. And I just went through the whole bag and decided which shells looked the best, which shells were the largest. And once I decided on which shell I would use, I picked out the one that I thought would be best for this project. I'm going to now glue in my burlap backing and just run a bead of glue all the way around your frame and push in that backing as tight as you possibly can. It will snap back into place. You just have to use a little bit of force, not too much. And now we have a backing for our shadow box frame. I just went back and cut off any of the little edges that I saw that were out of place. Now I'm going to pick the shell out that I chose. I did cover this with the Linen White's chalked paint as well, the shell. I did not video this part, but I thought it was pretty self-explanatory. I did put a coat of white over that, and now I'm just gluing my shell into my shadow box frame. And here's a look at our finished product. Super cute. Now going into our second project for the day, I bought these very unique looking glass bottles. They're kind of like glass bottles, but they also look like they're in the vase section. So just choosing a unique shaped glass vase, I brought them home and thought that they would make very neat vases for this project. And you're just going to take your jute twine and start it by gluing it at the top, gluing it a little bit as you wrap it around. And you will see that I did not wrap this in any straight pattern. I wanted it to be very messy, kind of giving it more of a beachy feel. I don't feel like beach items are very proper and very traditional. I wanted it to just kind of have a very messy look to it. So here you see me going really all different directions with my twine, because I did take it down as far as I wanted it to stop, and then I went back up to the top, wrapping it in a very messy pattern, back down and around. I made this very thick. I wanted it to be substantial once I glued my shell on. But you can see here that it's just, there's no real pattern. I did go back around, and if there were any see-through holes, I did take the twine around and kind of make sure that it wrapped around those holes so that you wouldn't see through the glass jar where the twine was. Just finishing off, glue down your piece of twine. Now I'm going to take where I've wrapped my twine, and I'm going to glue down a starfish to the front. I bought these starfish at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Michael's as well, and I'm sure you can get them on Amazon. I first start off by pouring in the sand that I did purchase from the Dollar Tree into the bottom of the vase. This is going to help weight the vase down and also hold in the flour that we're going to put in a few minutes. Here's my starfish, and just going to hot glue that to the front. I did not put the hot glue all the way down the starfish because it's just going to kind of hit right there in the center. This starfish kind of had a crooked leg, but that's no problem. It just kind of wrapped around the vase. And you're just going to insert this leaf. And here's a look at our finished product. Super cute.